Okay, guys, as I said, I would talk more about the game in depth, and I basically want to do that by covering each individual character and how they play, how they look, what I feel is missing, what I feel is done right, and I didn't want to start off with Godzilla because I feel that to be too, I won't say dull, but I want to start off with different characters. I'll cover Godzilla later because Godzilla's the main focus. He gets the most updates in the game. So I want to start off with something different. I want to start off with one of my favorite characters to play, and the first one I updated, Gigan. So I guess just start with unlockability. Gigan is pretty easy to unlock. He's one of the first opponents you'll encounter in God of Destruction mode. Go Ashore mode, which is Godzilla focused. So yeah, acquiring Gigan is not hard at all. So that's one thing at the list. The versions of Gigan represented. Anybody who knows Godzilla's lore knows. Basically, there's three main versions of Gigan one can focus on. There's classic Gigan, who everyone's familiar with, and usually that's the version we usually see in games, although some games have done both, or one or the other. You know, that classic one, the greenish, greenish blue look with the gold. I love that design, I really do. However, the Showa Gigan is not included in this game, unfortunately. And then there's the Final Wars Gigan, which has two different versions. The first version is the first one he takes with the classic scythe hands, but of course a very updated look, the all black, with kind of dips of blue and silver, of course, in certain metal parts of his body. And then he's killed by Godzilla. Then later he comes back as the upgraded Gigan with the dual chainsaws and the neck brace. They reattached his head or made him a new head basically. His head got destroyed. And yeah, and then of course a few different attacks. So which version did they use? They only used, strangely enough, the latter and latest version of Gigan, which to me was a little odd. I respect that choice, because I would talk about how much work they put into making Gigan in this game, but to me, that was kind of a tad annoying, because I really love that first edition of Gigan too, let alone not including the Showa version. I think not including the first version is kind of a mistake. I mean, let me put it this way, they include both 74 and 75 Mechagodzilla, which to me was very thought-provoking and cool, but at the same time, though, there's very minute differences, honestly, between those two versions of Mechagodzilla. Which, to me, also goes for Kiryu. I didn't include the first version of Kiryu from Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla 2002. I would have loved to play this first Gigan with the scythe hands. It would have been very interesting. Not to mention, I think there's a plethora of things you could do with the combos that would be different. Because you would have the scythe hands instead, and it has a little grappling hook ability to pull enemies in close. And of course, it would have been a perfect excuse to have the little chainsaw belly technique. So, to me, there's a lot of things you could have done that would have been a lot more interesting, honestly, than having both 74 and 75 MG. Honestly, I would trade either one of those for that version of Gigan. Not to be mean, because I still respect the Showa Mechagodzilla, but 74, 75 are not different enough to have not included the first version of Gigan in Godzilla Final Wars. So that's my rant on that. They really should have included him. It would have been awesome. Maybe we'll get a DLC later on about that. Maybe we will. So there goes the hoping. But enough bitching. Let's get to Gigan himself. Gigan was the first person I went through on Invade mode because I wanted to update him as soon as possible. And for the one version of Gigan we get, I do say I have a lot of fun with this character. Like I said, he's one of the faster ones in the game. So even though he walks at a faster pace than most other monsters because he's more slimmed down, he also has ways to move around faster. He can't actually fly like he does in the movies, which is fine with me because he also has the chainsaw charge. Basically, that's one of his best moves, which is basically the move he used on Mothra in Final Wars, where he goes at you, he smashes the chainsaws to the ground, and he propels himself at you with his jets, and does a pretty good amount of damage, and it's hard to get out of once he hits you. The problem is when you first ram your chainsaws down, you have to make sure that happens, otherwise you can easily stop your combo. But that's an interesting move. Of course, he has the cluster beam, which does a lot of damage. It's a pretty effective technique. He hits you with the chainsaws, which is pretty good. And of course, the main combo is awesome. The main charge attack is a very nifty little spin move with the chainsaw. It does a lot of damage. So yeah, Gigan's a pretty good... They made him more as a melee fighter than distance, which fits pretty much what he does in the movies most of the time. He likes to fight up close and personal. He doesn't like to keep his distance. So I love that attention to detail they put there. Gigan looks and sounds freaking fantastic. I love what they did with him. Like I said, I only wish they included the first form as well. But Gigan is really awesome in this game. He moves pretty well. I mean, especially when you're fighting invade mode, if you want to move fast, especially those timed levels, which can be difficult at times, because anybody who's played the game knows that the harder you go, you have to destroy your targets within a set time limit, usually while fighting another monster, or maybe even two, which can be very difficult at times. But since Gigan has a little, chainsaw charge, he can move really fast on a map and get to those targets much faster than most other monsters like Godzilla can, which makes him really effective for those type of missions. It makes him great. The only weakness Gigan has is that he's not super durable, like say Godzilla or Super Mechagodzilla or even King Ghidorah. It only takes a few hits to really knock his health down, which is the problem, but that's why Gigan, you have to be kind of semi-aggressive. You have to really, really keep on your opponent and keep them off their feet, which is the whole point of the chainsaw charge, and then, of course, the cluster beam supposed to also help with that. That's the most effective way I find playing against other monsters with Gigan. Use the cluster beam, then go into the chainsaw charge, and they usually can't do much to stop you. Also, if you keep updating Gigan, you also get the little chainsaw, the little mini chainsaw disc he shoots from his chest, which he also uses in Final Wars. And it's pretty nifty. It's pretty nifty. I'm glad they included that. I love it. So my overall rating with Gigan for this game, I think they did very good. They should have included his other forms, but for what we got, I'm very pleased. And that is my review of the Godzilla the Game version of Gigan. He's fantastic. One of my favorite characters in the franchise, and one of my favorite characters to play as in the game as well.